Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the Plain Trades of Comic Books channel. My name's Matt, and today we're going to go over crowdfunded comics. What are they, how to find them, and where to buy them. But before we get into that, if you guys wouldn't mind sharing, subscribing, commenting, it really helps me out and lets me know what you guys want to see more of. So with that being said, let's get straight into it. All right, so you may or may not have heard of crowdfunding comics. Basically what that is anybody, me, you, someone who's got an idea for a story or a comic can go on these crowdfunding websites. Namely, the big three are Indiegogo, Kickstarter, and Zoop. And they can pitch their idea to millions of people. And hopefully that idea gets the interest of enough people that back the project. And then it can be made and sent to those backers. Now, I've been getting into crowdfunded comic books over the last couple of years. Pretty much since the pandemic started was when I first found them. And that was mainly because all the comic book stores were kind of shut down, and so were the publishers. So you really couldn't get any new comics. And while I was on YouTube, I saw, oh, there's someone that has an Indiegogo campaign or a Kickstarter campaign for some comics that seemed interesting. So I figured I'd check those out. And pretty much ever since then, I've been backing crowdfunded campaigns that look interesting to me and catch my attention. So I'm going to walk you through the big crowdfunding websites so you guys can get a taste of what it's like, what to look for, and some tips on picking good campaigns. All right, so we're going to start it with Kickstarter because this is probably the most well-known crowdfunding platform. And all crowdfunding is you have an idea, you think it could make some money or it would be cool. So you put that idea out on one of these websites. And if people like your idea, they give you money to fund it. And then if your funding campaign is successful, you get to create and produce that final product and send it to the backers. And this isn't just for comics. There's tons of stuff here under categories that you can fund, like music, games, tech, art. But I pretty much just go in here for comics. So if you click on the comics tab, it will take you to every campaign that's currently going on that has to do with comics or illustration. And the way I like to go through these is I'll scroll down and see what catches my eye. All of these have little graphics and you can see the art, or at least the best art that they have to offer on these thumbnails. Like here, for example, we got one called Voodoo Cowboy. I'm a big fan of horror and the art looks pretty good on this thumbnail. So I click that and we actually see that it's already got $4,492 pledged. And this green bar here is the progress meter to whether it's fully funded or not. And it is fully funded. And this only has 2 hours to go and 344 backers. I also look to see where these are at, because depending on the location of where the people creating the project are from, the shipping on actual physical copies of comics can be extremely expensive. So usually I try to stick to North America or Canada if I'm looking to get a physical copy. But for something like this, it's a #1, and I'm just kind of loosely interested in it. I don't really know if I want a full physical issue of this, so I can look down and get a little bit more about it. They usually have a video that you can play that will show a trailer or a breakdown of the comic that they're doing, and basically try to make the viewer excited about their project. As you scroll down, you get the story of the concept, and they like to throw in things like little taglines so that you can know quickly if you're going to like this. It says, if you like Hellblazer or the films of John Carpenter and Sam Raimi, you'll love Voodoo Cowboy. So this sounds right up my alley. I love all of those things. And as you scroll down further, you can see some of the arts. You got a pretty awesome cover by Mark Texeira here that this guy got. And then sometimes, if you're lucky, they'll show you the interior art as well. Usually most of these creators have at least 1 to 10 pages complete already so that you can see the art before you buy it. And this looks pretty good. So once you decide that you do want to back a project, all you have to do is go over to this side over here and it scrolls down its own menu. And you could back something without even getting a reward. You could just say, I really like this creator, but I don't want anything personally, so I can back it with money here. And then as you see, you get tiers of different levels of support. This first one is a pledge of £2 or more. You get the digital edition with the Texeira cover. For $3, you get both covers. For $4, you get the print edition. And for $10, you can get this guy's full digital library of all the comics he's made. So once you find what you want to back, you can just click on it. And on this one, it gives you an option to increase the amount, but most of them have a set amount. You hit continue. And once you're in this section, you can actually add on stuff. Sometimes they have other items like prints available or stickers or things like that that you might want. So this is where you can add that. And when you continue forward, you get to the checkout screen where it shows you the amount you're pledging and what you're actually getting. So I'm getting the Voodoo Cowboy #1 digital edition with the cover by Mark Teixeira. And then you just click pledge. And then you get a page like this, which says, congratulations, do you want to tweet it out? And if you, for some reason, were really having regret or something, you can go back and edit your pledge, at least until the campaign is over. Now with Kickstarter, the creator sets a goal amount that they think they will need to have to be able to publish and actually print and manufacture their product and then ship it out to you. So all of that's kind of included in their goal amount. But if the creator doesn't get that goal by the end of their campaign, which is usually about 30 days, the project will not go forward. So if it doesn't get funding, you don't lose anything and you don't pay right away. It takes the money out of your account after the project has been fully funded. And as you saw, this one only had 2 hours left. So this one's actually going to come out today. But most of the time I'll get an email saying, this project you funded, it made its goal. So we took the money out, and that'll be like 30 days after I supported it. So just be aware that this will take money out after the fact, and you might not have the money when the campaign ends like you did when you were looking at it. So that's something to think about. So that was a walkthrough of like one single comic by an indie creator who's just like you or me, Joe Schmo, trying to get his ideas out to the world. But another cool thing about crowdfunding is bigger name creators can put out special edition books or collections that would never be printed by bigger publishers like Marvel or DC of their own private work. And they're super limited edition, and you get to support the creator directly. An example of that is Jeff Smith, who wrote Bone, one of the most awesome comics ever written. He did crowdfunding for a book that came out last year called Tukey, and this is the follow-up book. The first one was called Fight for Fire. This one's called Fight for Family. So this campaign actually already ended, but the creator after the fact can put a link to his store. So you can actually buy these books on Jeff Smith's website. And you can get the soft cover of these books at your local comic book store, or I think even like on Amazon. But the cool thing about crowdfunding on these platforms is you get better versions of those books. So you could buy the hardcovers of these books here. You can even buy them with book plates that are signed by Jeff Smith. And I know for a fact on the first Tukey campaign, you could buy like new special printings of Bone and stuff like that too. So these original creators can give you really cool items that you can't get anywhere else and that are only printed through these campaigns. Another thing that's gotten popular on these crowdfunding websites is a creator getting to print a series that has been long out of print or never was printed at all by anybody else. So for instance, you have this Bitter Souls 400-page omnibus. It's drawn by Norm Brayfogle, who did a bunch of Batman in the 90s and 80s and stuff. And I guess this was like an indie series he did with a writer. And so they found a way to get this whole series printed in one big omnibus. And it's something that probably would have never seen the light of day otherwise. So I like this kind of thing. It's very cool. You get to support the creators that you like directly, and you get stuff that'll never be reprinted or possibly has never been printed. So that's kind of the overview of Kickstarter and how you go about supporting these projects on these platforms. So the other big crowdfunding website that does a lot of comics is Indiegogo. And just like Kickstarter, once you get to their homepage, you can go to Explore and then just go to the Comics tab. And when you do that, you can see all the campaigns going on. And just like on Kickstarter, you can see by this green bar how much the project is being funded and how many days they have left for the campaign. So let's look inside one of these campaigns to see how it differs from Kickstarter. So I'm clicking on this Shinobi Squatch, book 1. Okay, and we have something different here right away. So with Indiegogo, even though the campaign ends after 30 or 60 days, they have an option to go in demand. And that can go as long as the creator wants. They can close it at any point in time after the campaign has ended. So usually people will have their 30-day run and then they'll leave it open and continue promoting. And so if you come here after the campaign is run, you can still go down and select a perk, they call it here, not a pledge like on Kickstarter. And just like Kickstarter, you can see what they have available. And also you can see the art from the book itself. And one of the biggest differences between Kickstarter and Indiegogo is that while Kickstarter takes the money out after the campaign successfully funds, Indiegogo takes the money out of your account when you check out. So that can be nice if you have the funds at the moment and you just want to have them take it out right now. And it also allows this in-demand feature to really work because even though the campaign's ended, they can just continue to collect payments until the creator closes it. Now, this is an example of a book that I would be interested in just from the art and kind of the breakdown of it. It's a ninja werewolf Bigfoot. So, just kind of a fun, crazy idea. The art looks really good inside the book itself, and the covers are pretty awesome. But right away, I would be wary of this only because this is book one of a campaign. So, this is this guy's first book, at least of this campaign. And not only that, but this campaign ended on June 1st of 2019. And usually, if it's in demand still, that means it still hasn't fulfilled. And if you scroll down to the perks here, you can see that the original shipping date was August 2020, and it has now moved to June 2022. And that is even for the digital book. So that means that the book hasn't been shipped in any form, even digital, which should be the easiest way to ship it because you're just emailing someone a file. So this is part of the inherent risk of crowdfunding. You might support something that looks really cool, but either it takes way longer than they said to deliver it, or you don't get it at all. Now, I've only had a couple things that have been extremely delayed, but I haven't had anything actually just not ship or just cancel on me completely. But that's also why, after having done this for a couple years now, with new books of creators that I don't know or haven't bought from before, usually I will do a digital version first because that at least should be the fastest way to get that book and have it actually delivered. And I can read it and see if I actually like it. While of course I love physical copies of comics, the logistics that a new creator has to face with the first time publishing and printing and all that stuff, sometimes they're just so late or they don't fulfill their campaign at all. And I understand, but I don't want to throw away 25 bucks or 30 bucks on a graphic novel or an issue and not have it come to me. So I'd rather get the digital, which is usually cheaper on the campaigns anyway. So even if it doesn't fulfill, I only lost $5 or $10. Like you saw on the Kickstarter earlier, that was only £2. So that's kind of just me being able to support creators and go, I'll try it out. Let me see what happens. Now, once I support a creator and I've read their stuff and I like it, I don't have a problem buying physical copies. This is one of the comics that I like a lot. The art's really cool and the story's good. And the creator has always been on time and never had issue with printing or getting the books to me. So with them, I don't have a problem shelling out the $15 for 2 issues of a comic or even buying their graphic novels that they have of their previous campaigns. So one thing that's nice about how I go about it with buying the digital version first, and then once the creator has proven themselves, getting the physical versions, is almost all future campaigns going forward will have the older books that they already printed or will reprint for sale as well. So these 2 graphic novels are this creator's previous campaigns, and they are available here together in a bundle so you can catch up before you read the new stuff. So those are the 2 big main crowdfunding websites, but a new third one just popped up pretty recently, within the last year, I'd say, and their name is Zoop. For them, you just hit the explore button because I'm pretty sure that all of these are comics or at least some kind of comics related stuff like light novels or illustration/art books. So like I said, this one's pretty new. So as you scroll down, you will see that there's not that many projects here, but it is starting to get some more attention because Zoop is the only one that actually does the printing and shipping for the creator. So instead of the creator having to deal with finding a printer, printing their book, getting all the packing material, packing the books, and then sending them out to ship all on their own, Zoop actually takes care of that. Obviously for a fee, but I haven't really noticed as a customer a large increase for me as a supporter. So a couple of the really cool projects on this one, you got Axe Wielder John by Nick Patera, and this one's already fully funded. It started about 3 or 4 days ago, but the interface is very similar to Indiegogo and Kickstarter, where once you're on the page, you get a bar. Instead of being green, it's orange, and that lets you know where it's at on its funding goal. You can see how many days it has left and how many people have supported the project. And then as you scroll down, you can see all the perks. Like I said, one thing that's really cool about crowdfunding is not only do you get like the main book or a digital copy, you can also get signed books. A lot of campaigns have trading cards, and just like Indiegogo and Kickstarter, you can add on things once you purchase one of the main rewards. And some of these add-ons are limited. So like this one is a limited edition lithograph, and there's only 25 able to be bought. So 12 people have bought this. Another cool project that was on Zoop recently was this Wintermen Artist Edition. So in case you didn't know, the artist Jean-Paul Leon passed away last year. And when that happened, a bunch of his friends and his wife got together and were able to get this campaign going where they took one of his independent comics and they had every page of it, and they printed the entire series in this way oversized hardcover format, and these are called artist editions. So they're all black and white, and these are reprints of the original full-size comic book pages. So the book itself is 12 by 17 or something like that. It's a gigantic book, and you could only get it on here. So if you really love Jean-Paul Leon's art, and you wanted to support him and his family, this was a great way to do it directly. And you could get like a once in a lifetime special printing of this book that I'm sure would be extremely expensive and hard to find after the fact. So obviously with all of these crowdfunding platforms, there is an inherent risk because you don't know if the project's going to get fully funded or if once funded, the creator will actually send you the book. But there is a different type of crowdfunding that I've seen one specific creator use, and that is Amazon Print on Demand. So while it's not strictly crowdfunding, it is an independent creator putting out their work for you to buy. And there's completely no risk in this because Amazon just prints the product for the creator and it gets shipped straight to you. So I recently found out that creator Rick Veitch, who wrote Swamp Thing in the 80s and did a bunch of other really cool comics, has his own like print on demand store on Amazon basically. And he's just continuing a lot of his series like Max Immortal and Rarebit Fiends, along with original graphic novels like Tombstone Hand, Spotted Stone, and Otzi. And like I said, these are great because you get to support the creator directly. And while these aren't the same quality necessarily as some of those crowdfunded projects, because when you crowdfund, you're paying a lot more for a comic usually, and the creator wants to give you the most bang for the buck. These are more so the creator can get their project out to the reader without having to have storage for hundreds of issues of comics that they've printed or books that they've printed, or worry about shipping and whatnot. This is the fastest way to get your comic into the hands of your readers. So I just thought I'd mention that even though it's not truly crowdfunding comics, this is definitely an option for someone who is thinking about possibly crowdfunding their own comic, but the whole printing and shipping process is daunting. So with all those crowdfunding websites, yeah, you do need to have separate accounts and everything set up, but they're all pretty easy to navigate. And I have found some amazing comics on those. One example is this comic called God Summoner that I just supported randomly last month. It looked cool. So I supported all 3 issues digitally. And I was blown away at how good this comic was. And one thing that was cool about this campaign is the creator decided to give access to the first issue for free so that anybody who was interested could download the first chapter and catch up and get a taste to see if they wanted to back these first 3. I'll put that link in the video description below in case anyone wants to check that out. So that campaign is a good example of one I got into late and then I tried it out digitally. So I missed the first 3 in physical copies, but because I liked it so much, I already emailed the creator and they said that all 4 of the issues will be available in physical copy for the next campaign. So there's no harm in just trying something out and just checking it out for the cheaper price digitally if they offer it. So I hope you like my breakdown of the different platforms for crowdfunding comics and how to buy them and where to find them. I find crowdfunding comics a pretty fun and exciting thing to do. You get to help out new creators, and it basically breaks down all the walls and obstacles that someone would have to face getting into any of the comic book publishing companies like Marvel or DC. The only barrier to entry in this is your ability to pitch your idea well, and then after the campaign, if it did succeed, you have to then print and ship your books. So while it's a lot of work, I'm sure it's very fulfilling for the creators, and it's a cool thing for the buyers. Personally, I try to look at least once a month and see if there's anything I find interesting on all the websites. And you can see here some of the graphic novels that I've funded over the last couple of years, and the single issue comic books as well. So let me know down below in the comments, had you ever heard of crowdfunding? Do you support crowdfunded books a lot? Or is this completely new to you? I know before 2 years ago, I didn't know anything about this, but apparently it had been going on for a while. And if you've supported any crowdfunding books you've loved, definitely link them down below. Or if you're a creator and you have a book coming out that you want people to see, definitely post a link. All right, that's it for Crowdfunded Comics, and I will see you on the next one.